What's happening? This your boy Lil Pete, man. DSGB. Shout out to Dumb Out TV. Y'all know how we rocking. Yeah.
What it is, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to Dumb Out TV. If this your first time joining into the channel, make sure you like, comment, and share. Today we finna talk about the rise and fall of Mike Jones, man. Now, a lot of people from out of town, they might not know the backstory on Swisher House, but, you know, I'm still not going to tell you. The last rappers to come over there had Swisher House, and, you know what I mean, he blew up right away. But, you know, it was some cats there before him. Like, people in the city, they remember another Swisher House, you know what I mean? Because it had Lil Mario, Paul Wild, Chamillionaire, Mr. Magnificent, and it had Michael Watts, it had T. Ferris, and it had OG Ron C, you know what I mean? And, you know, Mike Jones came later, but, you know, when he was in the studio, he seen Magnificent in his session, and Magnificent already knew him. They grew up together. They went to school together. So, you know, them two niggas clicked up. And Mr. Magnificent, he had just got on the label a little bit before Mike Jones did. So them niggas started doing music together, and they had this project called First Round Draft Picks coming, and a lot of shots on tipping on fofos. And back then, you know, they were saying Mr. Magnificent was about his cash, but Mr. Magnificent never came out. You know, them niggas switched out on Mr. Magnificent, because, you know, Chamillionaire jumped in some beef with Mike Jones, and he said Mr. Magnificent, you know, didn't get his proper due, because he was like the hardest one over there when it came to lyrics. And, you know, Chamillionaire, he was already beefing with Paul Wall, and then he just didn't like Mike Jones, because he got Mike Jones and Mr. Magnificent their first show money out there in Pensacola at Roy Jones Jr. nightclub. And, you know, they felt like the boys had a good chance to go big time. So, you know, Paul Wall and Chamillionaire put Mike Jones Magnificent on a tour. Their first tour, paid tour, broke bread with them. Probably like 6 months after they started rapping. And then Mike Jones dropped the solo, and it took off, because, you know, it was a bidding war for Mike Jones and Mr. Magnificent. And after Mike Jones did that solo, Mike Jones was trying to get a solo deal. He wasn't fucking with Mr. Magnificent no more. He didn't want to break the bread down 50-50. He wanted to do a 60-40 split. And, you know, shit just started going downhill from there. And then, you know, Chamillionaire dropped a couple mixtapes like disses on Mike Jones. Mike Jones started getting diss records coming in from Slim Thug. Lil Mario was hating on him. ESG was hating on him. The whole SUC was beefing with him in Rec Shop. So, you know, he couldn't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? But all the people on the mainstream, they was fucking with his music. He done sold 2 million records. But, you know, nobody couldn't get him to split no money no more. Because, you know, they was pissed off because Magnificent was trying to push the old record that they did together. But Mike Jones was like, nah, we ain't pushing that song no more. You feel what I'm saying? So Magnificent was out the scene now. And Paul Wall got into a beef with Mike Jones. Everybody did. You know what I'm saying? So Mike Jones got a green light on his head. Like, beat that nigga ass. Because, you know, he was working with Clove G's. He was trying to hang with different niggas. You know, Pimp C was in jail. But he was like getting those songs Bun B, and niggas from Rap a Lot. You know what I'm saying? But he didn't want to break bread with nobody. He thought he was rich, but he didn't sign his paperwork right. So everything they say they was gonna give him, they didn't never give it to him. They just gave him advance, and they said they owed him a lot of money on paperwork, but the money never came through. So, you know, he was balling, getting all this money off these shows and features, and then, you know, on the top of his career, at the peak of his time of his career, he got knocked out, got his nose broke.
He talking about he want to see me in the street. I think I got it for him. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, breakfast. From 2 to 5 in the morning was the after hours. You would never not see us there. So if you ever want to put your money up or if you want to go get a nigga, you bring him through there, bro. I got a line of niggas that's ready, bro.
Trader Truth say he broke his nose for not keeping it real in the hood in Houston. Like, he'll say Mike Jones will drive a Phantom, but he won't look out for his own homeboys, you know what I mean? So that's why he did it. You know, he did it for the sake of hip-hop. He did it for the sake of Houston, you know what I mean? He said Mike Jones had 9 people with him. Ain't nobody scratch. Ain't nobody do nothing, you know what I mean? He said Mike Jones had a whole bunch of pit bulls that didn't even much bark. And, you know, that's crazy, man. Let alone not even scratching. Them things didn't even much bark. And, you know, Chamillionaire started laughing at him. You know what I mean? Everybody took him for a joke. Even the Cloverland boys took him as a joke. You know what I mean? Them Bonnie boys took him as a joke. So that boy moved out, man. I think he moved to like Dallas or somewhere, Fort Worth or something. He got long gone, and then he lost like 100 pounds. And then he went on all his shows, podcasts, and he was talking about he didn't fall off. But how you didn't fall off when your record deal was fucked up? You had money on paper, but not in real life. So, you know, that's what really happened. He's trying to get his money back that he'll never get. Peace of mind.